Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and especially the incoming medical students for whom we've organized this event. This benefit was created to address a problem which now plagues medical schools nationwide. What I'm referring to is, of course, CSS, chronic stress syndrome, the prevalence of which has increased exponentially during the past decade. The major symptoms of CSS include, but are not limited to, hypervigilance, regression, survivor guilt, depression, confusion, generalized body wasting, and loss of sexuality. Scenes like this were common last year. In an attempt to reduce the incidence of this devastating syndrome, the class of 1989 has instituted this prophylactic regimen, First Year Aid. We don't just have to stand by and watch this epidemic decimate our future colleagues. Together, we can do something. We can help.
1, 2, 3, 4. Help! We need somebody. Help! Not just anybody. Help! You know we need someone. Help! When we were first started out here just as all, we were scared, unprepared, awestruck by it all. But now a year's gone by and we're more self-assured. Here to lend a helping hand, to join us on our tour. First Year Aid is here, so don't feel down, 'cause it just gets worse the longer you're around. Always keep in mind you're MD bound. We'll all be MDs. The first few months you go to lecture every day. Soon you'll find most syllabi have everything anyway. The smart class starts co-op notes real early in the fall. Gives us all a lot more time in bed than lecture hall. If compulsive students you may be, don't despair, 'cause there is always company. But there's more to life than just anatomy and degrees, you'll see. First Year Aid is here, so don't feel down, 'cause it just gets worse the longer you're around. Always keep in mind you're MD bound. We'll all be MD someday, someday. Ooh.
Good morning, colleagues.
Good morning.
This is my niece Eve. She's a second-year medical student at UCSF. So, Eve, why don't you tell us a bit about your first year of medical school?
I'll tell you, Uncle. I think medical school is really tough. I lived 10 blocks away from school and had a 20-minute walk to classes every day. Uphill. We had classes 4 days a week, starting at 8 a.m. every day. 8 hours a day. And on top of that, we had anatomy lab. 8 hours a week. 8 hours.
Well, Eve, I'll tell you, that doesn't sound bad to me. When I was a first-year medical student, I slept on the floor of 17 apartments before I finally found a place of my own. And what a ride to school. 25 minutes on the end, Judah, with strange people drooling on my lap the whole way. And we had school 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, and a half hour for lunch, and 15 hours a week of anatomy.
Huh, you call that tough, do you? Why, when I was a first year, I lived in a tin shack, I did. And even that took 3 months to find. Had no heat, no running water, a dirt floor, and the frickin' roof leaked. I lived 43 miles from school. I had to take 2 buses, 2.5 hours each morning, 6 days a week at 5 a.m. And lunch, we had no lunch. We had to eat our leftover spam and bloody spam sandwiches during anatomy lab. Oh, that wasn't odd, because we had to sit in that anatomical stench 29 hours a week. Oh, but we learned medicine, we did. We learned it well.
Luxury. Tin shack, you say? You lived in a tin shack. How I long to live in a tin shack. How I dream night after night that one day I might live in a tin shack. But no, when I was a first year, I lived in a mailbox. With 5 boxmates. We had no heat, no running water, no electricity, no beds, no floor, no nothing. In fact, we couldn't even afford junk mail. And we had to go to school 21 hours each day. I had to leave for school as soon as I got home in the evening. And we had 35 hours a week of anatomy lab, and we had to dissect our own mum and dads. Not only that, but we had only 1 day off a year, and that was so we could wash the faculty cars.
My grandmother could have gone to that school. 1 day off a year, you said? They pampered you. And the mailbox? A mansion. When I was in medical school, I lived in a bedpan. With 13 pan mates. I had to get up at 1 o'clock in the morning, half an hour before I went to bed. I had to walk 73 miles a day to school through malaria-infested swamps. And if I was late, my teachers would slash me with a broken test tube. I had 69 hours a week of anatomy, and I had to promise to remember everything I learned for 40 years. I had no days off ever, no time for lunch, and I had to practice lumbar punctures on myself. But if you try and tell that to the medical students of today, they won't believe you.
And now to thank her for all she did for us last year, Professor of Biochemistry Diane Colby.
Singular sensation, every little step she takes. One thrilling combination, every move that she makes. One smile and suddenly nobody else will do. You know you'll never be lonely with you know one moment in her presence and you can't forget the rest. For the girl is second best to none. Son, ooh, sigh, give her your attention. Do I really have to mention she's the one? One biotransformation, ATP is all it takes. One dephosphorylation with dephosphorylase. Electron transport will take us to CO2. Plants do it, animals, microbes, and you. Integrating lecture, and you can't forget the rest. With a little help, the test is done. Son, die, and thanks for your attention. Do we really have to mention you're the one?
Our next stop on the tour is the home of Mr. Mike Finkley, famed anxiety-ridden UCSF medical student. Right now, he's consulting with his dad about a small concern of his.
Dad, oh jeez, Dad. Oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Dad, are you awake? Wake up. Oh, Dad, it's horrible. I don't believe it. Everybody in my class, they're all pairing up. Oh, gosh. Guys are going out with girls, girls with guys. It's disgusting. I don't know what I'm gonna do. They go to class together. They go to lab together. They eat lunch together. And after all that, they still want to go out together. Oh, it makes the rest of us feel so sad, so lonely, so unwanted. I mean, Dad, they're pairing up like lab rabbits. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Gee, I wonder how many there are. Let's see, there's Bob and Carol, Ted and Alice, Jack and Jill.
What the bloody time is it?
4! No, 10! Oh my God, it's a moral outrage!
Hey, Binkley! Looks your closet of anxiety is open again for your subconscious displeasure. Well, Binkley, what'll it be tonight? Past exam questions? Physiology professors? Dentists?
Surprise me.
Wait, I know. That young man you met last week at the doctor's office way out there in Pinole.
Yeah, right. I'm terrified.
Sure you remember him. The young guy thought he was Tarzan. Bench presses 980 pounds. He's looking for you, Binkley. He's sore about that rectal exam. You gave him last week.
It's 3 a.m. Sunday morning on the 13th floor of the Medical Sciences Building. Nobody could possibly have business here at this time of night.
Good heavens, the mean was a 98. Somebody got a 4. Somebody got a 4. Oh God, please let me pass this test. I promise to study harder. I promise to go to the RBR every night. Please let me pass this test.
So this is when you come find your exam scores, Herringbrook.
We looked at our exams. We know what we got. We passed.
And I got the high score. What'd you get?
I know CPR, I think.
Soon, many of you will be spending many hours in the RBR, the reserved book room. You'll become well acquainted with the many cast of characters we have in the reserved book room. You have the coughers, you have the eaters, but most of all, you have the sharks. The sharks, they're not there to study. They're there to prowl from table to table, room to room. They're not there to study. They're there to talk to people, to meet people, pick up people. You know who you are. But now we'd like to show you a different kind of shark, a more lethal shark of the RBR.
And now, a public service message for first aid.
Shh! Be quiet! Can't you see we're trying to study neuroanatomy?
Microscope delivery.
You guys order a microscope? It's a great idea. I'll be right back.
That's not a microscope. What? Don't ask any questions. Just study. It's own fault.
Hey guys, there's no line at the Xerox machine.
Did you hear that? There's no line at the Xerox machine. First,
Myelogram. Nissel stain. Spinal cord.
I'm not gonna open the door. I got thalamic nuclei memorized.
CT scan.
Secret structure of metabolism.
Neuroanatomy review session.
I've got no time for learning.
It's by Dr. DeGroot.
Dr. DeGroot, he's got all the answers.
Coming this fall, the RBR Shark to libraries near you.
You want to know what comes between me and my Grant's anatomy? Nothing.
DeGroot at the test. Things looked extremely rocky for the first-year meds that day. Midterms were upon them, with finals on the way. So when anatomy decided to put neuro on their test, it was enough to send the first years into cardiac arrest. A violent few declared they'd refuse to take the thing. Most just resigned themselves to whatever fate might bring. They thought if only DeGroot could be there with the class, they'd stand an even chance. DeGroot could help them pass. But DeGroot was not to be there. He was home ill with the flu. When the class received word of this, the mood became quite blue. And among the huddled students, their ugly mood progressed. For there seemed but little chance that DeGroot could make the test. A frantic effort made to distinguish every gyrus was hardly worth the effort with DeGroot gone with the virus. With the exam just hours away, bleak disaster hovered. It seemed there was no hope, when suddenly Jack recovered. And from the gladdened med students arose great joyous shrieks. They rumbled up Mount Sutro. They rattled up Twin Peaks. For a miracle, the first years had been blessed. For DeGroot, the answer man, was coming to the test. There was a spring in DeGroot's gait as he stepped into the room. Everybody there relaxed and hope replaced the gloom. Is Dr. DeGroot here? Can he help me with this? 280 eyes watched Jack with adulation. No one was prepared for unexpected complication. And now with pencils at the ready, the word came down to start. Each and every student knew that Jack would do his part. Soon the first to have a question slipped nimbly from her seat, and she bypassed two other profs to arrive at DeGroot's feet. While she waited patiently for the answer to a multiple choice, came the shocking revelation. The Groot had lost his voice. It was obvious that the bug had victimized the Groot. The class, too, was victimized now that Jack was mute. From the rows and rows of students, there came a muffled groan. If the Groot had laryngitis, then they might as well go home. I'm through. I'll never pass, wailed someone from a seat. But the Groot was a hero and would not accept defeat. With a flash of craftiness, he swept up a stick of chalk. He could write the answers, even though he Alas, this fine solution went without reward. It seems it violates the honor code to write answers on the board. And so a second wave of horror descended on the class. If the Groot could neither talk nor write, then no one there could pass. Helpless, the forlorn kids let loose a bitter sigh. To the Groot, however, defeat would not apply. His face remained impassive as he quietly took leave. Only the twinkle in his eye revealed a plan lay up his sleeve. What that plan involved, no one there could say. Yet all were confident the Groot could save the day. The room lapsed nervously into profound silence. The thick atmosphere smelled strongly of potential violence. Now the door burst open and the Groot strides bravely in, carrying a stack of paper and wearing a huge grin. Oh, somewhere in this foggy place where study is the chore, they really make it difficult to earn a passing score. And sometimes this cruel tradition leads to high anxieties. But not this time in neuro. The Groots brought answer keys.
Hello? Is this the histology department? I'm a first-year medical student, and I wanted to get some information about histology. And this nice lady in the student affairs office, she told me that if I came up here, there might be some second-year students. And I came up right here about information about histology. So I was wondering if you could give me some information, and I didn't even want to wait for the elevator, so I just ran right up here. Hello? Is anybody home? Was I supposed to make an appointment?
It's astounding. Time is fleeting. Madness takes its toll. Momentum blows late.
Not for very much longer.
I've got to keep control. I remember doing the mind warp, reading those moments when the madness would hit me.
And the void would be calling. Let's do the mind warp again. Let's do the mind warp again.
You move your slide to the left. Now you look for the sound. But
An idiotic thought.
it really drives you insane.
Let's do the mind warp again. Let's do the mind warp again.
Soon you'll be screaming, "Oh, histology, free me!" So you can't quiz me? No, not at all. Under lab room detention, the microscopic dimension is well secluded. You'll see all.
With a bit of a slide slip,
You're into the mind flip. And nothing can ever be the same.
It's a histo sensation.
Like you're under sedation!
Let's do the mind warp again. Let's do the mind warp again. Well, I was walking down the hall just having a think when Joel Elias gave me an evil wink. He shook me up, he took me by surprise. He put a microscope before my bloodshot eyes. I took a look and all went insane. life meant nothing, never will again. Let's do the mind warp again. Let's do the mind warp again.
You move your slide to the left. And bring it. Now you look for the cell.
But it's nowhere inside. We do the optic thrust. It really drives you insane. Let's do the mind warp again. Let's do the mind warp again.
Any questions?
Welcome to Medical Jeopardy!
Thank you and welcome to Medical Jeopardy! I'm your host, Alex Trebeculi, and with us are our three contestants for today. From Nob Hill, a medical malpractice lawyer who loves to eat caviar on her yacht, Miss Sue Greed. From the Mission District, a medical student who spends all his free time sleeping, Mr. Harry Axilla. And finally, from UCSF, a respiratory physiologist, Dr. Alan Mines. Oh, what's in the bag, Dr. Mines?
Well, don't worry about this, Alex. These are just models of alveolar expansion.
Well, thank you for bringing that along. Well, before we begin, I'd like to remind all our contestants that all winnings from today will be donated to First Year Aid. Well, let's look at our categories for today. We have thoracic and abdominal contents, brain lesions, illicit activities, phlegm and related substances, famous Hungarian radiologists, and obscene anatomy mnemonics. Miss Greed, start us off.
Illicit activities for $200.
This is the favorite athletic activity among first-year medical students.
Why, Alex, that is so easy. Everybody knows that's what is watching aerobics?
Correct. Select again.
Alex, I think I'll take thoracic and abdominal contents for $400.
This is a fibromuscular structure in the thorax.
What is the diaphragm?
That's correct, Dr. Mines.
I might add that based on research I have conducted in my own laboratory, this is also a popular contraceptive.
Thank you for that enlightenment, Dr. Mines.
You're very welcome, Alex.
Select again.
Let me have another brain lesion for $200.
This is an insidious disease characterized by drowsiness and profound mental confusion.
What is Alzheimer's disease?
No, I'm sorry.
You dope! You are so submoronic! Anybody knows the question is, what is chronic lecture attendance?
That's good. We can tell, by the way, Mr. Axilla. Select again.
I think I'll take a famous Hungarian radiologist for $200, please.
Well, you're in luck. That's an audio daily double. Now, identify this voice.
Show me the medial border of the left clavicle.
Who is Dr. Moni?
Oh. That was a tremendous question to a different answer. Everybody knows the correct response is Dr. Ross. Miss Greed, select.
Obscene anatomy mnemonics for $400.
This obscene mnemonic for the branches of the 7th cranial nerve begins the zebra bit Mike. Ding dong, ding dong. Well, that tone indicates we're out of time for today. But I'd like to, let me remind our contestants that here on Jeopardy, everybody wins. So, Don Pardo, tell us about the wonderful parting gifts our contestants will receive.
Well, Alex, here's Vanna to help me out. For each contestant, we have the complete lecture kit, including highlighter roller, earplugs to tune out annoying lecturers, dark glasses to cut out bored glare, and for the posterior part of your anatomy, a lecture seat cushion and Preparation H.
Yeah, you first years are gonna really need this.
Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us and thank our contestants for donating their winnings to First Year Aid.
Good evening, and welcome to First Year Aid. First, there was Band-Aid. Then there was USA for Africa. Then there was Farm Aid, Hands Across America, and now, finally, First Year Aid. See, there are problems. There's a lot of stress in medical school. And what we'd like to do is help reduce that stress. And what we're hoping is by today's program, we can show you a little bit about what to expect, how to laugh at it, and perhaps how to reduce the stress so that you can have a real good time in your first year of medical school. We have here a stress gauge. And as you notice, this is the projected stress for 1986-1987. Pretty close to the top. And this is where we'd like to end up at the end of the evening. Right here, at the end of First Year Aid. So just sit back and relax, because your seats have stress meters in them. And they'll be measuring your stress through the evening. So relax and send in those donations, because we need to reduce your stress. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to help you out, we'd like to introduce Run Pre-MD.
Jam, 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 jam. Oh, Rockberry, Rockberry, Rockberry. Jam, 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 jam. Oh, Rockberry, Rockberry, Rockberry. Jam, 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 jam. Oh, Rockberry, Rockberry, Rockberry. Jam, 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 jam.
Say, get down and listen to me. Gonna tell you all about anatomy. There's a lot of work.
There's a lot of stuff.
Ain't no denying.
It's gonna be tough.
There's 6 hours left.
And 4 class.
Just get a step.
And you will pass.
So don't get scared.
Don't get uptight.
Sexton Sutherland's on your side.
Get a couple of books,
Like a syllabus set.
and a nice white coat.
For to cover your threads.
You need lab partners.
People who
Are ready?
and willing to work with
you. People to talk to.
Most of all, someone to hold the body while you chainsaw. You may have seen, you may have heard, the anatomy stat is kinda weird. But don't let that
Give you a fright.
'cause they all friendly.
And most don't bite.
They a lot more fun than smell. They got no inhibitions.
And no sense of smell.
Pretty soon,
Well, the first thing we see is a layer of skin. But what's on the test lies within. Right underneath
is a layer of fat.
But you won't spend
Much time with that.
So get on down to the
Good stuff.
You'll learn what that is.
Soon enough.
When you get formalin
In your blood.
you're gonna be an anatomy stud.
Damn! This exam problem will never do. Only 15 calculations. Too easy. Chuck it. Come in.
Dr. Frankenwein, hello. My name is Renata. I'm a first-year medical student, and I hope you can help me out. You see, I wanted to make some money to help put myself through medical school as a research subject. But all the drug studies only take men. And I was told that you coordinate the first-year physiology experiments, and then maybe you could use the research subject.
Well, dear, you have come to the right place. We do all sorts of experiments in physiology labs. You know, we used to use dogs, but then the Animal Experimentation Committee found out. So now we have to use medical students.
Great.
Well, then I'll see you today, room C343 at 1 o'clock.
Thanks, Dr. Frankenwein. See you there.
See you then. Well, welcome to my lab, class. We've got a damn exciting lab today. Right, John?
That's right, Atrium.
Well, now we're going to examine how hyperventilation affects how long you can hold your breath. And my good friend Renata here will put her lungs to the test. Now, you remember Dr. Smirk from cardiovascular physiology? Well, he's going to assist Renata right now. Now, I'm going to need some volunteers for our little experiment, too. You're the clock monitor, and you monitor the stopcock. Now, while the girls get this going, do we have any questions?
Hey, what's so important about oxygen anyway?
Well, Yasik, if you keep your mouth shut long enough, you'll find out. Any others? Dwayne?
Is this going to be on the test?
For the exam, but it involves damn exciting principles essential to life as we know it.
Al, how long will this take?
Please don't encourage him.
You long for more. Well, let's get down to the heart of the matter. Now, take my cyst, Tolic. She's got this friend, Angie Tenson. I met her at this frat party over at Delta Capillary. It's over on the coronary of 3rd and Irving, don't you know? Yeah. She was with this guy, Aldosterone, yeah. I told her, I'd love to trach you out. She'd throw me out of the room. What the Fick principle is he on?
Oh, my God. He's hypoxic again. I bet the last of his brain tissue is finally dead. Maybe we should use some of that KCL. I know he's gotten us so excited about what it does.
Al, you're just a real pain in the assness.
Well, let's get going with this experiment. Now, Renata, I want you to hyperventilate on O2 and then hold your breath, well, as long as you can. Great. 15 minutes? 30 minutes? Look how blue she's getting. Wow. 45 minutes? An hour? An hour and a half?
Dr. Frankenwein, Renata's been holding her breath for almost 2 hours. Don't you think she should stop?
Well, yeah, I guess you can start breathing again. Renata? Renata? Oh my God, I think we're losing Renata. We've got to do something. Does anyone know CPR? Dwayne, get up here.
Annie, are you okay? Somebody call 911.
I guess it's, cyanotic, Renata.
It's Tuesday afternoon, 5 o'clock, and classes are out for the day.
Not a care in the world till Thursday morning. Good times are coming my way.
We could have gone to Stanford, Yale, or Harvard, or any other UC.
But my choice above all is UC San Francisco, because they give me my Wednesdays free.
What to do with my Wednesdays? How shall I spend midweek? So much to see in Northern California, so many pleasures to see.
So many pleasures to seek? So many pleasures to seek? Ah, that's it. Just as I feared, so this is what all of you planned. You just want to play on your Wednesday reading day, and for that, I say Wednesdays are canned.
No way, Dr. Schmidt, we were only dreaming. Listen, one moment we pray. Recreation is fun, but after all, we're students. What we really wanted to say is...
Wednesday's a day that I save for my research. Other parts of protein or from last day, class B. Listening to the clicking of my scintillation counter. Please, Dr. Schmidt, don't take my Wednesdays from me.
Hey, Tahoe's got snow. Come on, let's go. What are we waiting for?
Hey, let's get out of this city before I get giddy that last lecture. Ooh, what a bore.
Meet me out front, we can leave in an hour. Go pack your skis and your gear.
We're bound for Squaw Valley, snow and bright sunshine. Don't forget the sangria and beer. So much to see in Northern California, so many pleasures to see. What would we do without Wednesdays? Weekend in the middle of the week.
Weekend in the middle of the week? Weekend in the middle of the week? I've had enough of this student play day. On this issue, I'll put down my foot. If you don't care for what the reading day is there for, free Wednesdays are henceforth kaput.
Now wait, Dr. Schmidt, we're only dreaming. Listen, one moment we pray.
Yes, Tahoe is nice, but after all, we're students. What we really wanted to say is...
Wednesday's the day that I save for my research. Wouldn't want to spend it any other way. Not me. Life in my lap is an ongoing pleasure. Please, Dr. Schmidt, don't take my Wednesdays from me.
The shin bone's connected to the thigh bone's connected to the hip bone. Put a mustache on, and who've you got? You betcha, Sexton Sutherland. This farmer boy in dark glasses studies brain lesions and masses. He spends most of his time writing lectures that rhyme for his neuroanatomy classes. There's Dr. Alan Bassbaum. Is there PPI in the H2O? Dr. Diane Colby. Oop, got caught playing doctor again. Oops, was I supposed to do a rectal? No, Dr. Gastel, not this time. What should I be when I grow up? An insurance salesman? A male model? An astronaut? Dean of a medical school. Yeah, dean of a medical school. UCSF, that's the ticket. Dean Altman dreams.
Sexton, Maureen, what gives? Why'd you call us to the RBR anyway?
Well, we need your help. It's
Well, quite frankly, you people stank in anatomy, but you still managed to pass, and you had a good time.
Which brings us to the point. There's a first-year medical student on the second day of classes, and she's already acting like a dental student.
You are definitely right. She does need some help, but what can we do?
Well, why don't you ask her out? Show her a good time.
That's a good idea. How would you go about doing it with her?
Well, why don't you try the bar scene from Top Gun?
Actually, I haven't seen that movie.
Good. Neither have we. Let's do it.
Whoa.
I feel the need to read.
Yeah, Icebox, let's go ask her out.
No problem. Hey, what you studying?
I'm studying intestines.
Nice tubing. Look, why don't you put the book away? Come with us, baby, and have some fun, all right? What do you say?
For your information, my name's not Baby. And I don't go out with sharks.
Sharks? Sharks? What's she talking about? I don't know what she's talking about. We do.
You guys are losing it. What my man Cadaver in action.
You know, Puss, it's funny that you should mention it because I have a notion she's got that honors feeling.
No, not that honors feeling. I hate it when that happens. Well, here goes nothing.
Oh no, he's going for the microphone. He can't even sing.
He can't dance either, but that's never stopped him before.
This is gonna be great. I know it.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Don't worry, miss.
You never close that book when it comes to a Saturday night. I've got to tell you, girl, that it's such a pathetic sight. I'm trying hard not to see it, but baby, it sure seems to be it. You got that honest feeling. Whoa, that honest feeling. You got that honest feeling, and it hurts me so to see you in the yard. Baby, baby, oh, when you're gonna learn to do just the 70% that's required of you. You know life's books aren't chocolate and cream. So come with us as we go to the I-beam. You know that you got that honest feeling. Whoa, that honest feeling. You've got that honest feeling, and it hurts me so to see you in the yard. The yard, the yard, the yard, the yard, the yard, the yard, the yard.
Oh, thank God you closed that book because I was about to die for my own singing.
Boy, that was some pub crawl.
I'll tell you, how about that Manny Oz character, huh? The big guy dances a little bit unorthodox. Oh, you know, we forgot this anatomy exam.
Oh, no.
Forgot how to get the microphone.
Ooh, I love to party. It's what I used to do. Tuesdays at the I-beam, I wore my dancing shoes.
Chelsea's,
Yanceys, now they're apology. 8 days a week, with no time left to look at, smell, must have each and every nerve and vein just right. Got to learn the embryology tonight. Trace this, cut this.
Hey, Sexton, what's this?
Ain't done nothing but study 8 days a week.
Tonight, we shall hear of the immune response. A nifty unseen army, each one of us flaunts. T cells and B cells make up this family, swimming through the bloodstream so happily. The antigen appears, an ugly little cuss. A troublesome fellow with the potential for pus. He's recognized by all in a second or two. They know he's a goner. There's nothing he can do. A single antibody made just for him looks over quite carefully and saunters on in. She walks up to him with no sense of danger and says,
Hi there. New in town, stranger?
the antibody binds so smooth with a wink and asks the naive antigen,
Can I buy you a drink?
all components surround him like a label on a can, as antibody and B cell discuss the secret plan. B cell is off. Without hesitation, she's about to undergo differentiation. The antigen is kept as busy as can be, while a plasma cell appears with more IgG. They bind to the antigen ever so tightly, even though he is somewhat unsightly. Macrophage emerges like a flash before the eyes, converting him into someone T cells can recognize. Off in the distance, too far to be seen, waits cytotoxic T cell, looking very mean. She moves toward the antigen who's ready to hide. T helper and suppressor stand by her side. T helper says, kill, while suppressor yells. Cytotoxic T cell can't help but fluctuate. She looks at the antigen without making a fuss and says,
This town ain't big enough for the both of us.
He stands there, confused and undoubtedly in awe, as T cytotoxic utters the fatal word. For the poor antigen, it's the end of the road, and macrophage takes him to the nearest lymph node. Cytotoxic T cell basks in her glory, and that, my friends, concludes the immune story.
Sitting in the Koya Cafe, got no time.
Sitting here resting my bones. This anxiety won't leave me alone. 10,000 new facts still to know. I got the feeling like my brain's gonna blow. I'm just sitting in a Koya Cafe. Got no time left to stay. Just sitting
As part of our first year aid package, we'd like to recommend that you enjoy your summer between first and second year. It may be your last summer break for a long time. Some students chose to go to Mexico to study Spanish. Here we have Renata, a medical student who has just met a Mexican young man who has taught her some folk dancing. Renata has learned to dance quite well, but her Spanish needs work, and she makes a few mistakes. She is tired of dancing and wants to say, "I'm hot. How are you doing?"
Estoy caliente. ¿Estás bueno?
She has in fact said, "I'm horny. Are you sexy?" Her Mexican friend is a bit shocked, but decides to forgive her mistake. Renata's hair has become unkempt during the dance, and she wants to borrow her friend's comb. The word for comb in Spanish is peine, but Renata uses a similar sounding word with a very different meaning.
¿Puedes prestarme tu pene?
She has in fact said, "Can you loan me your penis?"
Por supuesto.
Of course, replies her Mexican friend. Realizing her mistake, Renata wishes to say, "Oh, I'm so embarrassed."
Estoy muy embarazada.
She just said, "I'm very pregnant." If you can avoid these mistakes, you should enjoy your trip to Mexico. Nos vemos más tarde. Buena suerte.
Boy, this is exciting.
Yeah.
Is this your first interview?
My first interview in UCSF is my first broadcast. I really hope I get in.
Miss Franklin? Miss Urethra Franklin? Hello, Miss Franklin. I'm Dr. Nelson.
Hi, Dr. Nelson.
Now, as you know, our interviews at UC are totally blind. So, why don't you just start off by telling me a little bit about yourself?
You mean you don't know anything about me?
That's right. I've not been...
What you want? Doctor, I got. What you need? You know I got it. All I'm asking is for you to accept me. Yeah. With scholarship. Accept me. With scholarship. With scholarship. I
listening up. We appreciate it. Now that we're back after intermission, a couple things we'd like to tell you about. First of all, as you notice, we're wearing sweatshirts and T-shirts. And just a little plug. You can buy these. Someone will be outside afterwards to buy, if you'd like to order sweatshirts and T-shirts. All the money will go to the second-year class. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, also, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank some people who are behind the scenes, whose faces you may not be seeing, but who are very instrumental in putting on the show tonight. In the band, we have Joe Alvarez, Mika Hiramatsu, Ron Felice, and Kevin Starr. The band. Yes, absolutely. On lights, we have Eric Holmberg, Kevin Kramer, David Hopkins, Cindy Sedlin, Sarah Hoffman, John Spurtis, and Byron Hahn. Yeah, all right. On sound, we have Frank Basich, Daryl Brotke, and Mark Henderson on sound. And up in the projection booth, putting the slides on the screen, is Francis Kim. And finally, the people who are getting everything out here and off of here really smoothly, Candy, Marianne, and Rick Ponce. Great. And now, we'd like to show you a restaurant scene. This one is based on an actual scene that happened to some of the medical students last year.
Name, please. The name is Prince. There are 3 of us. Oh, just a second. How long is it going to take?
45 minutes. Or an hour.
Well, I guess we can wait an hour. I've heard the food's really good.
Better be. It looks way expensive here. What are you worried about? Think about all the money you're making from the drug study. Might as well spend it on something.
You're doing another drug study, Steve?
Yeah, I'm in an anti-hypertensive drug study. And I went in this morning to have my blood drawn. Well, the guy who was drawing my blood didn't know what he was doing. He took this huge needle and he poked it into my arm. And he missed my vein and he just kept thrashing it around, poking and jabbing. And blood was all over the place and it really hurt.
Oh, God, you're probably going to get a huge clot on your arm.
Steve, let me tell you, I really hope this drug doesn't have any side effects like the one I took. You know, impotence.
They told me I might have some abdominal cramps and maybe explosive diarrhea. Up blood, they said that I should discontinue the drug study. McDonough, Sonny McDonough, party of 4. Ralston, party of 4, Ralston. DeGroot, party of 2, DeGroot. Schmidt, party of 1, Schmidt. Wait, please.
Hey, David, I hear you're doing another drug study, too.
I was going to. You know, it was this study had to do with some sort of eardrop that they're developing. You know, it was really good study. It paid well, no blood draws, really good. But you know what? I was disqualified.
What's that?
Well, they looked in my ear this morning with an otoscope. They said I had too much earwax in my ear. Can you believe it? Not only that, they say I have the wrong kind of earwax. They want people with a dry, flaky earwax. I got this wet, sticky, yellowy kind of stuff. I was really bummed about that, though. Looked good.
Guess what happened to me? Have to make up that dermatology quiz. I got the slide with the pus wrong.
What did you answer?
I answered mucus, you know? It's an honest mistake, but...
Pus and mucus are not at all alike. Mucus is clear. It's that stuff you get when you have phlegm in your throat and you can go, ah, ah. But that's what mucus is, but pus Pus is the stuff that you have like in a lesion or in an abscess, and it's usually white or yellow.
Pierre, I think I have the striptease.
Well, this pus was thick and it was green.
Salad instead.
Anyways, I really don't care about all this useless terminology, you know? When are we going to get to the real stuff of medicine, you know, saving lives and helping people and that kind of stuff? I mean,
being real
inspired and...
saving lives. I think we get to the real stuff.
I don't know.
You never get to all this stuff is meaningless. Oh, you know what? I just remembered. I have to write a paper tomorrow for ICM.
What's it on?
Projectile vomiting.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, GI problem.
There's a spot on this fork.
Oh, how gross!
Disgusting. You said this was a nice place. Hey, Garson.
This place is it.
S is for the sexy smile he flashes. E is for the effort that he makes. X is for the extra help to pass us. T is the 2 minutes that we hate. We hate. O is for the key orientation. N is nice and nice he'll always be.
You betcha.
Put them all together, they spell sexton. The last word in anatomy.
Good evening and welcome to Histology Sneak Previews. Sitting across from me is Roger Ebert, anatomy critic for the Chicago Sun-Times.
And across the bench from me is Gene Siskel, histology reviewer for the Chicago Tribune. Tonight, we're going to review the 2 top grossing histology slides of the fall. And we'll begin with epiphyseal plate. Joel Elias's epic tale of the life of 2 chondrocytes. The slide beautifully chronicles the friendship and life of the 2 cells from their difficult beginning trying to escape the cartilage plate, through their maturation into happy hypertrophied cells, and finally to their tragic death as the matrix begins to calcify. This slide is fixed, mounted, and stained in a truly touching and elegant manner, certainly worthy of your highest power objective.
Give me a break. This is nothing but sentimental schlock. You mean to tell me you really liked the end when the osteoprogenitor cells moved in and talked about hope for the future?
There were tears on my oculars.
Well, maybe we'll agree on the next slide. It's called blood smear. In contrast to the previous slide, this is more a slice of life. Director Mary Williams brilliantly portrays the social unrest between different classes of blood cells. In particular, the power struggle during an acute inflammatory reaction, as the polymorphonuclear cells move in. I found this brilliant, and I was especially impressed by the performance of the red blood cell. This is certainly an improvement over last fall's flop, the reluctant reticulocyte. She's really grown up.
Oh, Gene, I couldn't disagree with you more about this blood smear. Why, the differential is entirely predictable.
What?
And that red blood cell you find so impressive, why, she's lost her charm. She doesn't even have a nucleus anymore. I was bored.
Well, that's all for this week. Join us next time when we'll be reviewing 2 new slides. The gastric pit, the life of a churning, acidic environment, and our newest soft porn slide, ejaculatory duct.
Until then.
We can't afford good cocaine. Messing with Dex, it would leave us a wreck. So coffee we take to get through. It gives us that kick we love to. Now with new coffee IV, we can take coffee wherever we please. That's 12, 15 hours a day. We get through our classes that way. Sometimes we miss the fantastic taste and smell of Moffat coffee. But when we do, we just substitute their decaf brew each morning. I know that coffee makes me nervous and wired, but better than tired. It's coffee we take to get through. 'Cause we get a kick, we get a kick, we get a kick out of you.
So, you've beefed up your MCAT scores. You've found someone to type your AMCAS essay. You've wheedled your way into some decent letters of recommendation. What you need now is the Stanley Kaplan School of Interviewing Skills.
Yes, your school is definitely my first choice. Yes, your school is definitely my first choice. Yes, your school is definitely my first choice.
In addition to unlimited use of cassettes and learning materials, your Kaplan course includes 5 6-hour lessons and a practice interview. We'll cover such areas as glossing over faults, exaggerating achievements, and answering questions about controversial issues without saying anything at all.
I guess I disagree with the concept of nuclear war, but, well, what do you think?
Abortion? I'm glad you asked that question. I think abortion is one of the most important issues facing our nation today, and one that requires very careful consideration.
At Kaplan, your gravest personality defects become your strongest assets. At Kaplan, the outright nerd becomes the inspiringly studious. The surly and insolent becomes the appealingly candid. And the downright bizarre becomes the refreshingly unconventional. Witness one of our recent Kaplan graduates in action.
Come on in.
Hi.
Hi, you must be Steve.
I am.
I'm Dr. Cutler. Have a seat.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Now, as you know, before this interview, I don't know anything about you. So just sit back, relax, be yourself, and above all, just be honest, okay? To begin, why don't you tell me a bit about yourself?
Well, Dr. Cutler, I was born in New York City. Lived there my whole life. My family still lives there.
Gotcha.
Mom and Dad, my 3 sisters. Went to high school there, and then I went to college. Yeah, I went to Yale and Harvard. Yeah, that's it. And I went to Oxford too. Yeah, I got me a Rhodes. Yeah, that's the ticket. Got a Rhodes.
The Rhodes, wow. Cecil Rhodes was instrumental in founding the state of South Africa. What's your opinion on U.S. divestiture of assets?
Well, South Africa.
Yeah.
I went to South Africa. Yeah, that's it. And I bought me a farm. Yeah, I bought a farm. And I found diamonds. Yeah, diamonds. Big diamonds. Yeah, lots of diamonds. That's it.
Diamonds.
I became rich.
Corps. Where'd you go in the Peace Corps?
I went to, Botswana. I went to Botswana, yeah, that's it.
How do you spell Botswana?
O-B-O-Tswana. Anyway, when I was in Botswana, I was working in farming, yeah, and they had no rain. No rain at all. It was a drought. Yeah, that's it. So I made it rain. Yeah. I made it rain. So they made me print king. Yeah. They made me king. So I was king of Botswana. Yeah, I had me a crown too. But then I got a call from my friend Steve.
Steve
Spielberg, yeah. Yeah, that's it. And he was making a movie. Yeah, that's the ticket. And he said, yeah, Morgan Fairchild wants you to star with her. So I had to go back.
Sounds great, Steve, but I gotta ask you just a basic question. How'd you do on those MCATs?
MCATs?
Yeah.
Well, I got a 7, 8, 100%. Yeah. I got 100%. That's it. Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna write next year's test. Yeah. That's it. That's the ticket. Yeah.
That's amazing, Steve. That's all the questions I have for you. You sound like a pretty good candidate. A lot of students have questions about what we, the faculty, do. So I thought I'd tell you. I'm a professor here. I work on the maladaptive social strategy of slime mold over at Langley Forder Site. And I got tenure. Yeah, that's it. I got tenure. I got it in 1 year, yeah. Yeah, they're gonna make me dean. Yeah. Dean of the whole school. Yeah. I even got me a prize.
No.
The Nobel Prize.
Nobel Prize? You lie, you stinking lie. You don't get a Nobel Prize.
Right.
Find yourself living in a sunset shack, and you may find yourself in a most unusual world, and you may find yourself behind 200 pages in a large anatomy book, and you may find yourself falling asleep in a large lecture hall, and you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? Ask yourself, how do I learn this? And you may ask yourself, where is the anterior branch to the lateral cutaneous branch to the ventral ramus of the 6th left intercostal nerve? And you may say to yourself, there's no point to this strife. And you may say to yourself, this is not my kind of life. Insane as it ever was. 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 And you may ask yourself, what are these tall buildings? And you may ask yourself, where do these long ears lead to? And you may say to yourself, am I right or am I wrong? You may say to yourself, my God, what have I done?
if I could just have your attention for a minute. This is Warren Levinson. If I could just say, this next sketch is called Innovations in Education, which, as you know, I am very much in support of. And I hope you'll like it.
Good evening. This is Anchorman Dan Blatter with a special report from the UCSF School of Medicine. Tonight, we are fortunate to have a distinguished guest, Dr. Rocky Swift, MD, PhD. Rock, UCSF graduates are some of the most outspoken doctors in the medical community. They're leaders willing to take a stand. How do you develop such boldness at your school?
Well, Dan, it's really quite simple. We encourage students to ask questions in the middle of lecture. In fact, we encourage a student to ask a question as soon as it pops into his or her head. Dan, our students, by asking these questions, gain confidence, and they also gain the respect of their peers.
What we really see in biochemistry lecture.
Does anyone have any questions on this basic introductory lecture on protein structure? Yes, Norm.
Oh, Diane, I did the option reading on protein structure, even trying to build a molecular model here. But I just could not figure out what the 50 amino acid is in the protein chain of the Santa Cruz banana slug. And it's tearing me apart, Diane.
Gee, I really don't know. Dove?
Hello, Diane. Glycine.
Thank you, Dove. And that was an excellent question, which I'm sure the entire class wanted to ask. Yes, Al?
Dan, quick question. While I was a student at Stanford, I spent all my free time, yes, all my free time, isolating several proteins. Take a look, see? The method we used was ammonium sulfate precipitation followed by ion exchange column purification. In our opinion, this was the best method to use overall. What method do you use to isolate proteins in your lab?
Affinity column purification, of course. Your technique would only result in crude preps. But thank you for the brevity of your question. Now, as I was saying, protein is translated from RNA, which is translated from DNA, which is contained in the nucleus as chromatin, wrapped in histones. Yes, Tuan?
Dr. Kobe, how do you purify protein in your lab?
Bingo! Nerd bingo! B-I-N-G-O! 5 stupid questions in a row. I win!
Congratulations, Fiend. You receive a lifetime subscription to the biochemistry syllabus.
Good evening, everybody. You know, we just saw one skit on innovations in education, but I came up with my own innovation. It's called the 5-minute first year of a medical school. In the 5 minutes, I'm going to teach you everything that you're going to remember after your first year of a medical school. Because it's only going to take about 5 minutes to teach you everything. For instance, like you come to class, right? You come to class in the morning, but we're going to start like 7 seconds late or something, because class starts like 8:10 instead of 8. So in 5 minutes, we start like 7 seconds late. Okay, then first class is a biochemistry. Okay, so I'm going to teach you ALA, PBG, Eurocopro, Proto-P. That's it. You're not going to remember anything else. Anatomy. Then you got anatomy class. I'm going to teach you the hypogastric plexus. And that's it. I'm not going to tell you what it is, because even after class, you'll never know. but you'll remember the word. Then you got the psychiatry class. Psychiatry class is easy. All you got to learn is a denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. That's it. That's psychiatry. Then you got the physiology. That's a hard class. Physiology is the heart pumps, the lungs hang, and the kidneys piss. That's it. Then you got physiology in the spring also. That's a GI physiology. That's really important, and you learn great stuff. But the only thing you're going to remember is that the sulfonation of the tyrosine molecule at the 7th amino acid from the carboxy terminal is important in the activation of cholecystokinin. That's it. That's all you learn. Oh, sure. Then we take epidemiology. Alpha is a 0.05, once randomized, always analyzed. And then you got the neuroanatomy. I don't teach you nothing. I just give you all the answers for the test. You got a syllabus like 2 pages. That's it. Then we got an exam at the end. Sure, like 5 Scantron questions. That's it. That's the exam. And then you go home, and that's it. Play for the sum or something. Now, I added it all up. You have 1,772 hours of class and study in your first year of medical school. So I think I could find something better to do with my time, you know? So it's up to you. 1,772 hours or 5 minutes. Enroll today.
I know a cadaver who's missing his brain. I don't know why he's missing his brain. Perhaps he's insane.
I know a cadaver who's missing his heart. It pumped and it pumped till it just fell apart. They plucked out his heart.
He's missing his brain. I don't know why he's missing his brain.
Perhaps he's insane.
I know a cadaver who's missing his liver. Sufficient glucose he couldn't deliver, so they snatched out his liver.
They plucked out his heart. It pumped and it pumped till it just fell apart. They plucked out his heart. He's missing his brain. I don't know why he's missing his brain. Perhaps he's insane.
I know a cadaver who's missing his bowel. It moved for a while, then threw in the towel. They ripped out his bowel.
They snatched out his liver. They plucked out his heart. It pumped and it pumped till it just fell apart. They plucked out his heart. He's missing his brain. I don't know why he's missing his brain. Perhaps he's insane.
I know a cadaver who's missing his lips. They kissed me goodbye, then they cashed in their chips. They shaved off his lip.
They ripped out his bowel. They snatched out his liver. They plucked out his heart. It pumped and it pumped till it just fell apart. They plucked out his heart. He's missing his brain. I don't know why he's missing his brain. Perhaps he's insane.
I know a cadaver who's missing his pelvis. I guess too often he thought he was Elvis. They chopped off his pelvis.
They shaved off his lips. They ripped out his bowel. They snatched out his liver. They plucked out his heart. They pumped and it pumped till it just fell apart. They plucked out his heart. He's missing his brain. I don't know why he's missing his brain. Perhaps he's insane.
I know a cadaver who's missing his chest. They neatly removed it from under his vest. They snipped out his chest. They chopped out his bowels. They shaved out his lips. They ripped out his bowels. They snatched out his liver. They plucked out his heart. They pumped and it pumped till it just fell apart. They plucked out his heart. He's missing his brain. I don't know why he's missing his brain. Perhaps he's insane. I know a cadaver who's missing his spleen. It used to look pink, but now it's quite green. They carved out his spleen.
They snipped out his chest. They chopped out his nose. They shaved out his lips. They ripped out his bowel. They snatched out his liver. They plucked out his heart. They pumped and it pumped till it just fell apart. They plucked out his heart. He's missing his brain. I don't know why he's missing his brain. Perhaps he's insane.
I know a cadaver who's missing his neck. They took out his tonsils and said, what the heck? They sawed off his neck. They carved out his spleen.
They snipped out his chest. They chopped out his nose. They shaved out his lips. They ripped out his bowel. They snatched out his liver. They plucked out his heart. They pumped and it pumped till it just fell apart. They plucked out his heart. He's missing his brain. I don't know why he's missing his brain. Perhaps he's insane.
I know a cadaver who's missing his nose. In gross anatomy, everything goes. They pulled off his nose. They sawed off his head. They tore off his teeth. They sewed his chest. They chopped out his nose. They cut his lips. They ripped out his bowels. They snapped his liver. They plucked out his heart. They pumped and it pumped till it just fell apart. They plucked out his heart. He's missing his brain. I don't know why he's missing his brain. Perhaps he's insane. I know a cadaver with nothing inside. That's why he died.
Well, I'm impressed. Let's take a look how we're doing. Great. Here's where we started the evening, and here's where we are now. Not only did we reach our goal, but we've gotten below our goal. Thanks for loosening up. Next, we'd like to show you another way that you can loosen up here at UCSF.
We can't take this sitting all day long. Got to move our butts to keep us strong. But we've got so many things to learn. So we do our myatomes and burn. Ooh. Ooh. Now let's start our stretching with some C's. 5, 6, 7, 8, and repeat it, please. Now let's get those fingers to the floor. Lumbar segments 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now the workout starts. Check those lazy pumping hearts. Get those flexors up. No, Eve, that's not high enough. Let's start burning, burning, doing the mytome dance. Burning, burning, doing the mytome dance. Now it's time for lower limb and tush. Exercise to try and firm this mush. Sacral 1 and lumbar 5's a must. Come on, folks, let's see those pelvic thrusts. From there now extend and plant our flex. L5, S1, 2 are best for sex. Soon you'll all be sitting down in class. So now's the time to work and squeeze your ass. Twist your elbows side to side. Take your obliques for a ride. Now for punches big and small. Do your sit-ups as I call. Now we're burning, burning, doing the mytome dance. Burning, burning, doing the mytome dance. Now the integration test, every C and L and S, and for Sexton give a show, every mytome we know. Yes, we're burning, burning, doing the mytome dance. Yes, we're burning, burning, doing the mytome dance.
Captain's log, stardate 2324.7. USS is now in an unexplored region of the galaxy. Mr. Sulu, what's our heading? What? Where are we going? Oh, still on course to steady Alpha 6, sir. Good. Mr. Scott, how are the engines holding up?
Dinner thinks it holds, sir.
Why not?
I don't know. Dinner thinks it holds.
What was that? What was what, sir? Sensors indicate we're being attacked, Captain.
I don't know, Spock. Romulans? Klingons?
No. By a macrophage.
A macrophage. Bones, clarify.
Damn it, Jim. I'm a clinician, not a microbiologist.
Apparently, Captain, we're being opsonized. Opsonization is the process by which foreign particles become coated with IgG and C3b to accelerate their phagocytosis into a cell.
And then I think she holds her. No, Captain, we're all going to die.
Bones, check out, Chekhov. I think he needs a checkup.
He's dead, Jim. I'm not dead yet. Spock, you long-eared hobgoblin. How dare you do that?
Simple, Doctor. Retrograde axonal transport of cranial nerve 11.
Mr. Sulu, can you pull us out of here? No, sir. Our engines are useless against this plasma membrane.
I didn't think so. Hold, sir. He's dead, Jim.
Lieutenant Uhura, can you open a channel so I can talk to this macrophage thing?
I'll try, sir. Ready.
This is James T. Kirk, captain of the USS Enterprise. We mean you no harm. We come in peace. Don't you see? We must survive. You must survive.
I could try the mind meld, Captain.
Of course, the Vulcan mind meld. Go ahead.
I didn't think so. Hold, sir.
Pain! Ow! Too much kick! Damn it! Ow! Ow!
What was that? What was what, sir? That?
Apparently, Captain, the macrophage spat us out and exploded.
Spock, that flame-blooded half-breed, what'd you go and say to the macrophage?
Simple, Doctor. I told it that since its job is to eat imperfections, and since eating us was a mistake, it had no logical choice but to kill itself. Yes. Release of all its lysozymes. But before it died, it told me a puzzling secret formula. P equals MD. Highly illogical. Frankly, Captain, I have no idea what it means.
Any ideas, Bones?
Don't ask me, Jim. I went to UCLA.
Day after day, the opening scene. A room full of students greets the day with cups of caffeine. They've all got a set of notebooks. They're armed with 4-color pens. They're ready, alert, and waiting at 8:10. But hour after hour, in front of this crowd, a microphone-wielding person's talking perfectly loud. And many a head is nodding, but it's not 'cause they agree. It's just another morning at the school on the hill. With the fog rolling by, there are rooms full of students with glazed over eyes. Afternoon, somewhere around 5, the crowd leaves the lecture hall. They're feeling
barely alive.
they'd sure like a home-cooked dinner, but but they just don't have the time. It's sandwiches at Moffat at the school on the hill, with the sun going down in their malnourished brains, lines of text spinning round. Anatomy lab, the lights are still on. A handful of students, coffee-fueled, dissecting till dawn. Driven by a thirst for knowledge, a novel idea because tomorrow's another midterm at the school on the hill.
Gentlemen, the Jack Daniels Band. The devil went down to biochem. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bind because he was way behind and he was willing to make a deal. Well, he came across this woman drawing a biochemical pathway, and the devil jumped up on the podium and said, "Lady, hear what I have to say. I guess you didn't know it, but I'm a biochemist too. And if you care to take a dare, I'll make a bet with you. Now, you can teach all right, ma'am, but give the devil his due. I bet a chalk of gold against your soul because I think I'm better than you." The lady said, "I'm Diane Colby, and it might be a sin, but I'll take your bet, and you're going to regret, because I'm the best there's ever been." Diane, exercise your mind and write those pathways down, because hell's broke loose at UC, and the devil ain't no clown. And if you win, you get this nifty chalk that's made of gold, but if you lose, the devil gets your soul. Well, the devil stepped up to the board and he said, "I'll start this talk." And fire flew from his fingertips as he grabbed a wholesome chalk. And as he stepped up to the board, he scratched it to hear it hiss. And when he finally got down to business, it looked something like this. When the devil finished, Diane said, "Well, you're pretty good, old son. But sit down in that chair right there. Let me show you how it's done." She played fatty acids, break them down. And Malinilka is not around. Now pay attention, I emphasize. Here's some pathways on some slides. Well, the devil bowed his head because he knew that he'd been beat, and he lay that golden chalk on the ground at Diane's feet. Diane said, "Devil, just come on back if you ever want to try again. I won the teaching award, you son of a bitch. I'm the best there's ever been." Is not around. Now pay attention, I emphasize. Here's some pathways on some slides.
shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure.